My stepniece's lie almost destroyed my marriage. 3 days later, she admitted she lied to impress her friends at school. So I banned her forever. I, a 27-year-old female, need to discuss what happened at my family reunion last month because I am still processing how rapidly things came apart. My husband Leander is 33 years old, and we have been married for 4 years. We live in a little house about 25 minutes from my parents and the majority of my extended relatives. My sister Beatrix, 34, married John, 39, 2 years ago. John welcomed his 17-year-old daughter, Sabine, from his previous marriage into our family. Sabine's biological mother resides in another state and sees her around twice a year. When John and Beatrix got together, the entire family made a big effort to welcome Sabine. My parents invited her to every holiday. My mother bought her birthday and graduation gifts. I included her in our cousin group chats and ensured she had someone to talk to at family gatherings. Sabine appeared to appreciate these attempts at first. She would hug my parents goodbye and express her gratitude for dinner. She assisted my mother in the kitchen during the holidays. During family gatherings, she and my younger cousins would play board games together. John expressed gratitude for how we embraced his daughter. He told Beatrix several times how fortunate he felt to marry into such a warm family. Dorian, my 16-year-old male cousin, is Beatrix's son from her first marriage. He and Sabine attended the same high school and appeared to get along well. Dorian is quiet, yet he has always remained close to our family. He spends every other weekend at my parents' house and considers it his second home. Last month, we threw my father's birthday party at our place. About 17 family members gathered for an afternoon cookout. Leander spent the majority of the day cooking on our backyard patio and playing catch with the younger kids. Sabine sat at our kitchen table with her phone throughout the majority of the gathering. She spoke out when someone addressed her directly, but otherwise kept to herself. Our home has 2 bathrooms. The main bathroom is located down the hallway from the living room. Our master bathroom connects to our bedroom. During parties, guests always use the hall bathroom because the main bedroom is off limits. Leander and I keep our bedroom door closed during gatherings. The party ran smoothly. Sabine ate dinner with everyone and thanked them before leaving with Beatrix and John. Leander and I cleaned up afterward and discussed how lovely it was to have everyone over. There was nothing odd or disturbing about the day. 3 days later, Dorian arrived at our front door about 5 p.m. He appeared pale and shifted his weight from foot to foot. He asked if he might come inside and talk. I carried him into the living room and offered him a drink. Dorian sat on the edge of the couch, staring at his hands. He stated he had heard something at school and needed to tell me about it. He stated that some of Sabine's friends were discussing what happened at our party. According to what Dorian heard, Sabine told her friends that Leander entered the bathroom when she was using it. She stated that he purposefully exposed himself to her. I sat there for a bit, trying to understand what Dorian had just said. The claim was so ludicrous that my initial reaction was perplexity rather than outrage. I asked Dorian to repeat exactly what he had heard. He claimed Sabine informed her friends that she was in the bathroom when Leander entered the door without knocking. She claims he lingered there for a few seconds before apologizing and departing. Her story's logistics were confusing. Guests used the hall bathroom all day, which has a lock on the inside. Leander spent virtually the whole party outside, grilling meals and overseeing the children in the backyard. He came inside to replenish drinks or get more food from the kitchen. He never went down the hall to the restrooms. I called Leander just after Dorian left. His reaction was complete shock. He asked me to repeat what Dorian had said twice because he couldn't believe somebody would fabricate such a serious claim. We spent an hour going over every detail of the party, attempting to figure out when this alleged incident would have occurred. There was no period of time when Leander was missing and may have been near the bathroom. I called my parents that evening and asked them to meet Beatrix, John and Sabine the next day. I did not convey the reason over the phone because I wanted to handle it in person with everyone present. My parents agreed to host the conference in their home. The following afternoon, we convened in my folks' living room. Sabine sat on the couch, between Beatrix and John. She was nervous and kept staring at the door, as if she wanted to escape. My parents sat in their normal recliners, while Leander and I took the love seat across from Sabine. I looked Sabine in the eyes and told her that Dorian had told her an intriguing narrative about what she had been telling her school buddies. I requested her to tell the story for everyone in the room. Sabine's face turned scarlet, and she began stammering about not understanding what I meant. I explained that, according to her account of events, Leander had walked in on her in our bathroom and exposed himself. The room became utterly silent. Beatrix's mouth dropped open. John gazed back and forth between Sabine and me, as if he were solving a conundrum. Sabine began crying and stated that she never intended for anyone to take it seriously. She claimed that her friends at school were often discussing inappropriate encounters with older males, and she felt excluded from their chats. She admitted that she made up the tale to fit in with what her pals were saying. She explained that she destroyed my husband's reputation in order to appear more mature and experienced to her young buddies. She explained that she chose Leander because he was the most recent adult man she had been around. She claimed she did not believe the news would spread beyond her small group. I stepped up from the love seat and glanced at Sabine, who was crying into her hands. I informed her she was lying, and that her actions could have cost an innocent guy his life. I stated that false allegations such as hers put men in prison and damage families. I informed her she had jeopardized my husband's job and our future together merely to please her pals. I turned to Beatrix and John and told them that Leander and I would never be in the same room with Sabine again. I stated that this was not a punishment that will stop after a few months or years. I informed them that Sabine was forever barred from our home, and any events we hosted or attended. John began to mention something about Sabine being a teenager who made a mistake. I interrupted him and stated that 16-year-olds understood the difference between truth and falsehoods. I stated that someone who can fabricate sexual assault charges cannot be trusted near my family. Beatrix attempted to argue that Sabine had confessed and apologized. I informed Beatrix that an apology cannot restore the harm caused by sharing false information about sexual assault. I told Sabine that she had displayed her true character, and we would not give her another chance to injure us. My parents listened throughout the whole chat without saying much. After I finished speaking, my father informed John and Beatrix that Sabine was no longer allowed in family gatherings held at their home. He refused to have someone in their home who would lie about such vital topics. The conference finished with John, Beatrix, and Sabine leaving in tears. Leander and I drove home silently. The next day, Beatrix called to inform me that Sabine would be returning to live with her birth mother in another state. She explained that John had determined that the situation was too harmful to their marital and family stability. Dorian has been staying with us for the past 3 weeks while Beatrix and John work out their living arrangements. He claimed Sabine's pals at school discovered she had lied about everything. After the truth was out, most of them stopped speaking with her. I understand that some people may believe I reacted too aggressively to a teenager's deception, but false charges of sexual assault are not pranks or misunderstandings. They ruin lives and reputations. Sabine understood exactly what she was doing when she shared that story. She made a deliberate choice to compromise my husband's reputation for her own social standing. Leander and I are moving on with our lives. We intend to start a family next year and buy a larger house. We have the support of my parents and Dorian, who witnessed Sabine's cruelty. Our marriage withstood this test because we confronted it together and refused to allow a lie separate us. Update 1. I had several messages requesting an update, so here is what has happened since my first post. Sabine returned to her mother's home in Oregon 2 days after our family meeting. John drove her there and stayed with her for a week to help her adjust. Beatrix stayed at home with Dorian throughout that period. When John returned, he was fatigued and appeared to have aged several years. The first week following Sabine's departure was quiet. Beatrix avoided phoning me, and John did not attend family dinner at my parents' place on Sundays, as he usually did. Dorian stayed with us during this time and looked relieved to be away from the situation. Beatrix then called to tell me some news that changed everything. She stated John had been calling Sabine every night since she relocated to Oregon. During one of these calls, Sabine admitted that lying about Leander was not her first false claim. According to Beatrix, Sabine admitted to John that she had made similar allegations about a teacher at her previous school in Oregon. That claim had led to Sabine's decision to live with John and Beatrix in the first place. Sabine's mother had taken her out of that school and sent her to live with John since the situation had gotten too difficult. John had never been informed the true reason Sabine came to live with them. Sabine's mother had simply stated that Sabine required a change of atmosphere and would benefit from living with her father. John assumed it was usual adolescent rebellion or adjustment challenges following his divorce. When John called Sabine's mother to check this information, she stated that Sabine had accused a male teacher of inappropriate behavior. The school investigated and found no evidence to back up Sabine's assertions. Other pupils contradicted her account of events. The teacher was cleared of any wrongdoing, but the accusation caused enough drama that Sabine's mother chose to take her abroad. Beatrix claimed John was saddened to learn Sabine had a history of making false claims. He recognized that our family's decision to cut ties with Sabine was absolutely justified. He also understood why Sabine's mother had agreed so quickly to take her back permanently. This realization completely transformed John's worldview. Instead of seeing Sabine as a confused adolescent who made a single poor decision, he regarded her as someone with a major problem that could harm innocent people. He admitted to Beatrix that he felt bad for not protecting our family better. The revelations concerning Sabine's past also clarified several previously unclear details. John stated that Sabine's mother was especially keen to have Sabine live with him permanently. At the time, John assumed it was because Sabine's mother wanted to focus on her new romance. Now he knew Sabine's mother was probably happy that Sabine was no longer her burden. Dorian wasn't surprised when Beatrix informed him about Sabine's earlier claims. He claimed Sabine had always been dramatic and attention-seeking in school. He claimed that she would exaggerate her life stories to make them more intriguing. He stated that some of his friends found her statements difficult to believe, but they didn't want to brand her a liar outright. John decided to minimize his interaction with Sabine after learning about her history of false charges. He still sends her money and calls her once a week, but he no longer plans to visit her or bring her home for holidays. He informed Beatrix that he needed to prioritize his marriage and Dorian's safety. This decision caused disagreement between John and Sabine's mother. Sabine's mother called Beatrix to complain that John abandoned his daughter when she needed help. Beatrix recounted the matter to Sabine's mother, telling her that John had never been informed of Sabine's earlier charges. Sabine's mother reacted defensive, claiming the instructor event was a misunderstanding. Beatrix asked Sabine's mother why she hadn't told John about Sabine's proclivity for making false allegations. Sabine's mother expressed her optimism that the behavior was merely a phase that Sabine would outgrow. She admits that she should have been more open with John before sending Sabine to live with him. Beatrix's conversation with Sabine's mother got heated. Sabine's mother accused our family of being unkind and nasty to a disturbed kid. Beatrix retorted that Sabine's lies may have ended Leander's career and our marriage. Both women were upset as they hung up the phone. Dorian has thrived since Sabine departed. He grins more and appears more relaxed in the house. He informed Beatrix that he had been walking on eggshells around Sabine since he had no idea what would set her off. He said Sabine would become upset with him for minor infractions and threatened to inform John that Dorian had been cruel to her. John and Beatrix have been attending couples counseling to deal with the effects of this event on their marriage. John feels bad about bringing Sabine into our home without knowing her complete history. Beatrix is frustrated that she has defended Sabine for so long without knowing the truth. The counselor has helped John understand how to keep a relationship with Sabine while also safeguarding his marriage and stepson. John now understands that being a father does not entail condoning toxic conduct or sacrificing other relationships. My parents have been quite supportive throughout this scenario. My father informed John that he appreciates his decision to prioritize his marriage and Dorian's well-being. My mother stated that she hopes Sabine receives therapy for her difficulties, but she stands by her decision to keep Sabine apart from our family. Leander and I have been working on our own plans and ambitions. We submitted an offer on a house with 3 bedrooms and a larger backyard. Leander was promoted at work, which will allow us to afford the new mortgage. We're looking forward to beginning over in a new place. The situation has brought our extended family closer together. Dorian spends more time with my parents now that Sabine isn't around to cause problems. John has gotten more involved in family activities and appears more calm. Beatrix and I have started getting coffee together once a week to catch up without talking about Sabine. Several people have questioned if I feel sorry for Sabine and whether I intend to give her another chance in the future. The answer is no. Sabine's history of false charges demonstrates that this was not a one-time error made by a bewildered adolescent. She has a history of telling big lies to manipulate circumstances and gain attention. I'm glad the truth came out before Sabine could make further claims against other innocent people. Our family is stronger and more calm without her. Update 2. I'm here with another update since Sabine's position has taken some unforeseen turns, which I believe everybody following this narrative should be aware of. About a month ago I received a call from Megan, who introduced herself as the mother of one of Sabine's former acquaintances. Megan revealed that her daughter, Maris, was friends with Sabine at their Oregon school before she moved home with John and Beatrix. Megan explained that Maris had been following social media posts from Sabine's current acquaintances and heard about what transpired through a fake charge against Leander. Maris informed her mother that Sabine had made similar allegations about other persons while living in Oregon, including the teacher incident that Beatrix had described. According to Maris, Sabine also accused a male student at their Oregon school of inappropriate behavior during a school dance. Maris stated that Sabine claimed this kid had cornered her in an empty classroom and made inappropriate advances. The school also investigated this accusation, which turned out to be incorrect. Multiple witnesses reported seeing Sabine with the accused student in separate locations around the time Sabine said the event occurred. Maris told her mother that Sabine seemed to relish the attention and commotion around her charges. Maris stated that Sabine would become thrilled when discussing these situations and would add additional details each time she related the stories. Maris later stopped being friends with Sabine after realizing she was lying about these interactions. Megan phoned because she was frightened Sabine might make similar charges against others in other areas. She stated that Maris felt awful for not speaking up sooner about Sabine's tendency of lying. Megan wanted to make sure our family understood that Sabine's actions in our community was not an isolated incident. This chat reinforced our suspicions about Sabine's character, but it was troubling to realize that her false allegations had harmed numerous innocent people in various schools and towns. I informed Beatrix and John. John was dismayed to find that Sabine's troubles were considerably more serious than he had imagined. He stated that he felt he knew nothing about his own daughter. Beatrix expressed gratitude that we had been strong in our choice to terminate relations with Sabine. 2 weeks following Megan's call, John got a call from Sabine's school counselor in Oregon. According to the counselor, Sabine had been trying to establish friends and had been caught spreading tales about her classmates. The counselor inquired if John was aware of Sabine's history of making false charges, since the school intended to address this pattern of behavior. John was open with the counselor about what had transpired in our family and what he had discovered regarding Sabine's past claims. The counselor stated that the school will work with Sabine's mother to build a plan to handle Sabine's conduct, but John should be aware that Sabine may need to change schools again. John told Beatrix that he was overwhelmed by Sabine's troubles. He claimed he attempted to be a good father by providing financial support and remaining in touch, but he didn't know how to assist someone who continued to lie and manipulate circumstances. The counselor that John and Beatrix had been seeing suggested that John establish clear boundaries with Sabine on appropriate behavior. The counselor indicated that enabling Sabine's falsehoods and manipulation would not benefit her in the long run. John chose to speak directly with Sabine about the repercussions of her behavior. During their next phone call, John informed Sabine that he was aware of her history of false charges dating back to her time in Oregon. He stated that he loved her but could no longer support her if she continued to lie about innocent people. He told Sabine she needed to accept responsibility for her actions and stop fabricating stories for attention. Sabine became enraged during the meeting, accusing John of prioritizing his new family over his biological daughter. She said that everyone was out to get her, and no one realized how difficult her life had been. John stayed calm, telling Sabine that many individuals face difficult circumstances without resorting to false allegations and manipulation. Sabine hung up on John during the chat. She did not return his calls for the next 2 weeks. When John finally spoke with Sabine's mother, he discovered that Sabine had informed her mother that John had been nasty and unsupportive during their previous conversation. Sabine's mother originally believed Sabine's account of events and contacted John to complain. John told Sabine's mother exactly what he said during the phone discussion with Sabine. He told Sabine's mother that he was trying to make her grasp the significant repercussions of her actions. Sabine's mother eventually acknowledged that Sabine was experiencing similar troubles at her new school in Oregon. Sabine's mother said she didn't know how to deal with Sabine's actions. She claimed Sabine would cry and play the victim if confronted with her lies. Sabine's mother asked John if he had any ideas for getting Sabine aid. John recommended that Sabine's mother seek professional therapy for Sabine's tendency of lying and manipulation. He stated that Sabine needed to understand that her actions had serious ramifications for innocent people. Sabine's mother agreed to look into counseling possibilities, although she expressed concern about the cost. Dorian has been doing well since Sabine left. His grades have improved, and he's become more gregarious with his pals. He joined the school basketball team and now spends weekends with his teammates. Beatrix described Dorian as a different person without Sabine's incessant drama and manipulation in the house. Dorian informed Beatrix last week that several of his school friends had asked him about Sabine and why she had left so abruptly. Dorian stated that he informed his pals that Sabine had been spreading stories about family members and that his parents had decided it was best for her to live elsewhere. Dorian stated that his pals understood and did not seek any clarification. John has been doing better since he established boundaries with Sabine. He continues to provide her financial support on a monthly basis, but he no longer feels bad about his lack of closeness with her. The counselor helped John see that protecting innocent people from Sabine's lies was more vital than keeping a relationship based on condoning bad behavior. Throughout this ordeal, Beatrix and I have grown closer together. She has been open about how tough it was to accept Sabine's manipulation and danger. Beatrix stated that she had hoped Sabine would change and become a better person, but she now realizes that Sabine's issues are too significant to ignore or overlook. Leander and I closed on our new home last week. We are thrilled to have additional space and a fresh start. We invited my parents, Beatrix, John and Dorian, to supper this weekend to celebrate. It will be our first family gathering since the event with Sabine, and we are excited to spend time together without worrying about drama or false allegations. The entire event has taught our family the value of safeguarding innocent individuals from those who will lie and manipulate for personal gain. We discovered that sometimes the most compassionate thing you can do is create hard boundaries with those who refuse to modify their damaging conduct. Update 3. This is my final update on the Sabine situation. Several people have messaged me inquiring how things turned out, so I wanted to bring some closure to this story. Sabine's mother called John around 6 weeks ago, informing him that Sabine had been expelled from her Oregon school. According to the school administration, Sabine made yet another false accusation, this time against a male substitute teacher. Sabine alleged that the substitute teacher made improper remarks to her during the study hall time. The school extensively researched Sabine's accusations. They examined security camera footage from the classroom and hallway, interviewed other students who attended the study hall, and spoke with the substitute teacher. The investigation proved that Sabine's accusation was entirely baseless. The security tape revealed that Sabine and the substitute instructor had little interaction, and other students confirmed that nothing untoward had occurred. The school principal informed Sabine's mother that this was the last occurrence that they would accept. Sabine had already been placed on probation for spreading rumors about her peers and causing disruptions in class. The bogus charge against the replacement instructor was the final straw. Sabine was expelled immediately and barred from returning to any school in the district. Sabine's mother was compelled to enroll her in an online education program since no other local institutions would accept a student dismissed for false claims. Sabine's mother informed John that she was overwhelmed and didn't know how to deal with Sabine's conduct anymore. John felt sad for Sabine's mother, but he kept his boundaries. He assured Sabine's mother that he would continue to send financial assistance for Sabine's basic necessities, but he would not get involved in resolving issues caused by Sabine's own activities. Sabine, according to John, must face the natural consequences of her actions. Sabine made her first straight call to John in months 2 weeks after being evicted. Sabine was in tears, and expressed her desire to return to live with John and Beatrix. She pledged that she had learned her lesson and would never lie again. She stated that living with her mother was making her depressed and that she missed being a member of John's family. John listened to Sabine's plea but stood steadfast on his choice. He informed Sabine that she had violated trust with too many people and that her history of false allegations made it impossible for her to return. John emphasized that he needed to safeguard his marriage, stepson, and the rest of the family from future harm. Sabine grew enraged when John refused to let her move back. She accused John of abandoning her and putting strangers before his own kid. John reminded Sabine that Beatrix and Dorian were not strangers, and that Sabine had imposed these consequences on herself by her actions. Sabine threatened to inform others that John was an unfit father who did not care about his daughter's well-being. John gently informed Sabine that he had documented her habit of false charges, and that anyone who investigated would quickly discover the truth about why Sabine was not living with him. Sabine ended the call by hanging up on John. She hasn't phoned him since then, but John continues to provide monthly financial support to Sabine's mother to cover Sabine's expenditures. Dorian graduated from high school last month with honors. He got accepted to 3 institutions and chose to attend a state university about 2 hours away from home. John and Beatrix are pleased of Dorian's accomplishments and grateful that he was able to concentrate on his academics despite Sabine's incessant drama. Several family members commented at Dorian's graduation party on how much happier and more relaxed everyone seemed without Sabine. Dorian informed John that when Sabine lived there, he was frightened to invite guests over because he never knew what type of scene she would create. John and Beatrix completed their relationship counseling satisfactorily. This event has helped to strengthen their marriage. John stated that he acquired vital lessons about the significance of understanding a person's entire past before bringing them into the family. Beatrix stated that she learned to follow her intuition when someone's behavior does not appear appropriate. My parents have insisted that Sabine is not welcome at family events. My father had no misgivings about his decision, especially after knowing about Sabine's ongoing practice of false charges. My mother expressed sympathy for Sabine, but believes that safeguarding innocent family members is more essential than encouraging toxic behavior. Leander gained another promotion at work and is now in management. We have adjusted into our new home and are expecting our first child this fall. We're delighted to become parents and relieved that we won't have to worry about exposing our child to Sabine's harmful conduct. Last month, I ran into Megan, Sabine's mother, who had contacted me about her history in Oregon. Megan told me that Sabine's expulsion from school had made headlines in their tiny village. Megan reported that most parents were pleased Sabine was no longer near their children. Megan also noted that her daughter, Maris, who had been friends with Sabine, was doing much better since they cut ties. Maris had been experiencing worry and self-doubt during her connection with Sabine because Sabine would manipulate situations and drive Maris to question her own impressions of events. The entire incident has taught our family the importance of protecting ourselves from those who lie and manipulate others for personal benefit. We discovered that giving someone many chances to improve is ineffective if they are unable to accept responsibility for their behavior. Some may say we were too severe in our treatment of Sabine, but I feel we made the correct decision. Sabine's persistent pattern of false charges demonstrates that she has not learnt the consequences of her actions. Maintaining a connection with someone who refuses to change would have endangered innocent people. Our family is happier, more serene, and stronger than before. We put our energy into relationships with people who are honest and trustworthy. We don't waste time attempting to fix those who do not want to be fixed. John continues to provide Sabine financial support on a monthly basis because he feels parents have a responsibility to help their children meet their fundamental necessities. However, he has recognized that he cannot have a relationship with Sabine while she continues to lie and manipulate situations. I appreciate everyone who followed our tale and offered support during a difficult period. Accepting that you cannot save everyone, especially those who refuse to be saved, can be the most difficult aspect of protecting your family. Sabine made her decisions, and now she is dealing with the consequences. Our family made our own decisions, and we are enjoying the calm and happiness that comes from being surrounded by honest, loving individuals.